One of Connecticut's biggest attractions is celebrating a big milestone this summer. 10 years for the Connecticut Science Center at Adrian's Landing. And with us today is Matt Fleury. He is the longtime and really the only CEO of the Science Center, correct?
Since we opened, that's the case.
So congratulations on your milestone as well. And, you know, it's hard to believe when we think about this just how fast it went by, because it was so many years in the making. I remember when I started here in 1992, they were talking about where should it go? Where should the Science Center go? And they finally picked us.
Right. And, you know, having been involved from the genesis of this chapter of the Science Center vision here in Hartford, it's really very exciting and hard to believe, as you said, that it's been this long. We opened the doors on June 12th of 2009 after a decade of effort to build the place, and it was a parking lot. Early 2000s, this was a parking lot with a dream. And the right group of people came together to capture, I think, the lightning in a bottle you need to capture to make a thing like this happen. And 3.2 million visitors since over 10 years. Here we are.
They come from all over, too. Whenever I go to the Science Center, you always see people even from Western Massachusetts, sometimes even from Boston, New York, coming to see this.
We're a regional destination. Clearly, people drive to places like this typically, and they do so. There's a concentric circles effect. So our nearest and dearest are the folks who visit the most. But you'll see families from around New England. We see school buses from Western Massachusetts all the time, from Rhode Island, from over in New York State, et cetera. And it's just wonderful the way that the community close to home here in Connecticut and a little farther has embraced the Connecticut Science Center as really a premier New England destination.
Well, let's talk about your role in Adrian's Landing, because that whole complex really was nothing but a bunch of parking lots and an old office building at one point. And now you've got the convention center, you've got a hotel, you've got restaurants, a movie theater, and the Science Center. How is it all working?
Well, I think it's working very well, and it's come, as you say, from nowhere. So here we are in the decades it turns out to take to actually transform a part of a city in what's become really a vibrant area, where we're joined now by the University of Connecticut's downtown campus, by Stanley Black & Decker's Industry 4.0 Center on Constitution Plaza, by a sort of a bunch of different innovation groups that are working together, whether it's out of the Nassau Re Innovation Incubator or some of the other projects in InsurTech, Health Tech, Med Tech, et cetera.
And it's almost done, because the apartments that they're building on Arch Street, that'll be the final piece of Adrian's Landing. It'll finally be done. Let's talk a little bit about the future. What's next for the next 10 years?
Well, for the Science Center, it's to do more of the same, but with a laser focus on, I think, two aspects. One is to help to advance and foster this self-view in our community that what created Hartford and created Connecticut was a culture and a habit and a tradition of innovation and invention. And we have to see ourselves that way, because it's thought leadership and innovation that will carry us forward as an economy and as a community. So the Science Center is about expressing in the dramatic way we do on the skyline of the capital city that that's our story and that's what we're about. And in the experiences that our visitors have every day, it's about saying you can be part of writing that story for our future.
Is there anything that surprised you, pleasant surprise that is, that was more popular than you thought it would be?
I think, in reflecting on that, because people have asked me around the 10th anniversary, what were the surprises? I think part of it is we just didn't know what to expect. And there were a lot of ideas that people would love to have a Science Center, but we never knew that until the first visitor walked in the door 10 years ago. And the warmth of the embrace that our institution has had by this community, I think, is the thing that, if not surprising, has been really affirming in a way that perhaps we would not have anticipated. And that's why we go to work every day, is to be a loved, cherished, valued, inspiring part of our community.
Is there anything that you would have done differently?
It's hard to say in retrospect, because we knew so little, as it turns out, about what would the economy do, what would our community look like. I don't think so. I think when you go back and you ask yourself, how in the world could this magnificent thing have actually happened, you'd look at a lot of the right moves that happened along the way that even at the time might have not made sense. Now they come together, and you have the community enjoying a wonderful family learning destination that says something really important about the direction of our community, and that delivers something really important about the awareness that we have to have as a society about the world around us, our role in the world around us, from environmental stewardship all the way to the question of the role of an individual in medicine or in using natural resources appropriately.
If the governor came to you and said, you know, we're having some issues with tourism in our state, but your place is pretty successful, what's your idea to sort of get more people to come to the state of Connecticut?
You have to deliver a first-class experience. You know, promotions are important. Taglines might mean something. But at the end of the day, successful tourism is about successful destinations and things that people want to do. So I think we certainly can express that more loudly in our marketing and positioning of the state of Connecticut and our community. But our job is to make sure people, when they come, they have a fantastic time and they tell their friends.
Matt Fleury, CEO of the Connecticut Science Center. Great place. If you haven't been there, well, you're living under a rock, so it's time to go. All right, and best of luck with the next day. Thanks, Matt.